Gaius Julius Caesar, a name that would come to symbolize power, ambition, and the very essence of Rome itself. The name echoes through history, resonating through the ages as a symbol of both greatness and controversy. Born in 100 BC, Caesar was a child of Rome, a city steeped in power struggles and ambition. The streets of Rome, bustling with merchants, soldiers, and politicians, were his playground. His family, the Julii, claimed descent from Venus, the goddess of love. This divine connection was more than just a point of pride. It was a symbol of their noble heritage. While this ancestry boosted their social standing, it didn't make them rich. The Julii lived modestly, navigating the complex social hierarchy of Rome with determination and strategic marriages. Even as a young boy, Caesar showed a sharp mind and a thirst for greatness. His eyes sparkled with curiosity and ambition, always seeking knowledge and understanding. He received a traditional Roman education, studying rhetoric, philosophy, and military strategy. These subjects were not just academic pursuits, they were the tools of power in Rome. These subjects would serve him well in the years to come. His education was rigorous, designed to prepare him for the complex world of Roman politics and military command. Rome was a republic, but powerful families like the Julii held significant influence. The political landscape was a battlefield, and young Caesar was a keen observer. Caesar learned the art of politics early on, observing the machinations of the Roman Senate and the struggles between different factions. He watched as alliances were formed and broken, and as power shifted from one hand to another. Little did he know, he would soon be at the heart of it all. His journey from a young boy in the streets of Rome to one of the most powerful figures in history was just beginning. The seeds of his future greatness were already being sown in the fertile soil of Rome's political and social life. As he grew, so did his ambitions. Caesar's early experiences and education laid the foundation for his future endeavors. He was not just a product of his time, he was a force that would shape the future of Rome itself. His training extended beyond the classroom. Caesar was also trained in the art of war, learning the strategies and tactics that would later make him a formidable military leader. His mind was a sponge, absorbing every lesson, every piece of wisdom that could be gleaned from his teachers and mentors. The bustling markets and forums of Rome were his second classroom. Here, he learned about the people he would one day lead, understanding their hopes, their fears, and their desires. This deep connection with the common people would become one of his greatest strengths. With every passing year, Caesar's vision for his future became clearer. He was destined for greatness, and nothing would stand in his way. The heart of Rome beat within him, driving him forward on a path that would change the course of history forever. Caesar's political career began like many others, seeking support and building alliances. He was a master at navigating the complex web of Roman politics, understanding that power was not just about holding office, but about the relationships and networks one could build. From the very beginning, he was strategic, aligning himself with influential figures and leveraging every opportunity to advance his position. He held various positions, each step carefully planned to increase his influence. From quaestor to aedile, and then praetor, Caesar's rise was marked by calculated moves. He knew that each role was a stepping stone, a chance to gain more visibility and support. His tenure as aedile, for instance, was notable for the grand games and public spectacles he organized, which endeared him to the masses. He understood the importance of public opinion and used his charisma to win over the Roman people. Caesar was not just a politician, he was a showman. He knew how to speak to the crowd, how to present himself as one of them while also being above them. His speeches were legendary, filled with passion and conviction, and he made sure to be seen as a man of the people. His military achievements further fueled his rise. Caesar's campaigns were not just about expanding Rome's territories, they were about building his own legend. His time in Gaul, for example, was marked by a series of stunning victories that showcased his tactical genius and his ability to inspire his troops. His campaigns in Spain and his ruthlessness in suppressing rebellions showcased his strategic brilliance and solidified his reputation as a skilled commander. These military successes were crucial in establishing his authority and demonstrating that he was a leader who could deliver results. His soldiers were fiercely loyal to him, and this loyalty was a key factor in his ascent. The Roman people loved a winner, and Caesar gave them victories. Each triumph was celebrated with grand parades and public festivities, further cementing his popularity. He understood that in the eyes of the people, success on the battlefield translated to success in leadership. His ability to bring glory to Rome made him a hero in their eyes. As his power grew, so did the envy of his rivals. The Senate was filled with ambitious men, and Caesar's meteoric rise was seen as a threat by many. His growing influence and the adoration of the masses made him a target. Political maneuvering and backroom deals became the norm as his rivals sought to undermine him. Some saw him as a threat to the Republic, a man hungry for absolute power. The whispers of dictatorship began to circulate, and the fear that Caesar would dismantle the Republic's institutions to become a tyrant grew. His every move was scrutinized, and the tension in the political arena was palpable. Among them was Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus, better known as Pompey, a celebrated general who had once been Caesar's ally. Pompey was a formidable figure in his own right, with a string of military successes and a strong base of support. The alliance between Caesar and Pompey had been one of convenience, but as Caesar's power grew, the relationship soured. The stage was set for a clash of titans. The rivalry between Caesar and Pompey would become one of the most famous in history, a battle not just for power, but for the future of Rome itself. The stakes were high, and the outcome would shape the course of Roman history for generations to come. Caesar's campaigns in Gaul, a region roughly encompassing modern-day France and Belgium, became legendary. For almost a decade, he led Roman legions against fierce Gallic tribes, showcasing his military genius. His tactics were innovative, his logistics impeccable, and his courage unquestionable. One of the most famous battles of this campaign was the Siege of Alesia in 52 BC. Facing a massive Gallic army led by the chieftain Vercingetorix, Caesar employed a daring strategy, surrounding the enemy with a double ring of fortifications. This effectively trapped the Gauls, leading to a decisive Roman victory. Caesar's Gallic wars were brutal, but they also brought immense wealth and territory to Rome. His accounts of the campaigns, written in clear, concise prose, became literary classics, further solidifying his image as a brilliant commander and a master of propaganda. The year was 49 BC. Tensions between Caesar and Pompey, once allies, had reached a boiling point. The Senate, influenced by Pompey, ordered Caesar to disband his army and return to Rome as a private citizen. Caesar faced a choice: submit to the Senate's demands and risk trial and potential exile, or defy the Senate and march on Rome, plunging the Republic into civil war. He chose the latter. "The die is cast," Caesar famously declared as he crossed the Rubicon River, the boundary between Gaul and Italy, with his loyal legions. This act of defiance marked the beginning of the Roman Civil War, a conflict that would decide the fate of the Republic. The Civil War was a brutal affair, pitting Roman against Roman. Caesar's forces clashed with Pompey's across the Mediterranean, from Greece to Egypt. Through a combination of strategic brilliance, tactical flexibility, and unwavering determination, Caesar emerged victorious. Pompey, defeated and fleeing for his life, was assassinated in Egypt. Caesar, arriving in pursuit, was appalled by the act but used the opportunity to intervene in Egyptian politics, aligning himself with Cleopatra, the young Egyptian queen. Returning to Rome as the undisputed master of the Roman world, Caesar celebrated his triumphs with lavish games and spectacles. He pardoned many of his former enemies, understanding that a show of mercy would help heal the wounds of war. However, his immense power and ambition made many uneasy. The ghost of tyranny loomed large. Caesar was not content with simply being a military victor. He saw himself as a reformer, a man destined to reshape Rome. He implemented a series of ambitious reforms aimed at addressing the Republic's long-standing problems. He centralized the government, reformed the calendar, granted citizenship to people in Roman provinces, and initiated large-scale building projects. He understood the importance of infrastructure and public works in maintaining stability and projecting power. His reforms, while popular with many, alienated some of Rome's elite. They saw him as dismantling the traditional power structures of the Republic, concentrating too much power in the hands of one man. Their fears, while understandable, would have dire consequences. Despite his numerous victories on the battlefield and his sweeping reforms that reshaped the Roman state, Caesar had made many enemies along the way. His rise to power was meteoric, but it was also fraught with controversy and opposition. The Senate, once a bastion of Roman tradition and authority, now found itself overshadowed by Caesar's growing influence and ambition. Whispers of conspiracy began to circulate in the Senate. These were not mere rumors but the hushed voices of powerful men who felt threatened by Caesar's dominance. The corridors of power were filled with secretive meetings and clandestine discussions as senators plotted in the shadows away from the prying eyes of Caesar's loyalists. A group of senators, calling themselves the Liberatores, liberators, believed that Caesar had become too powerful, a threat to the very fabric of the Republic. They saw themselves as the last defenders of Roman liberty, standing against a man who, in their eyes, was on the verge of becoming a dictator. Their meetings were filled with passionate debates and fervent speeches, each senator voicing their fears and concerns about the future of Rome. They feared he aspired to be king, a title anathema to the Roman ideal of a republic. The very thought of a monarchy was repugnant to the Roman people, who prided themselves on their republican values and traditions. The Liberatores were determined to prevent Caesar from dismantling the Republic and establishing a new era of autocratic rule. Led by Gaius Cassius Longinus and Caesar's own friend and protege, Marcus Junius Brutus, the conspirators plotted to eliminate the man they saw as a tyrant in the making. Cassius, a seasoned military commander, brought his strategic mind to the conspiracy, while Brutus, torn between his loyalty to Caesar and his duty to the Republic, became the face of the rebellion. Their alliance was a potent mix of ambition, fear, and a shared vision of a free Rome. As the Ides of March 15th on the Roman calendar approached, the tension in Rome was palpable. The city was abuzz with speculation and unease. The streets, usually bustling with the daily life of Roman citizens, now seemed to carry an undercurrent of dread. People whispered in hushed tones, and the air was thick with anticipation of what was to come. Soothsayers warned of impending doom, and rumors of the plot swirled, but Caesar, confident in his own security and seemingly dismissive of the threats, refused to heed the warnings. He brushed aside the ominous predictions, trusting in his own invincibility and the loyalty of his supporters. Little did he know, the wheels of conspiracy were already in motion, and the fate of Rome hung in the balance.